go with a little painting excursion in the backyard again. Several different paintings of the same scene at different times of day. It's so attractive looking back here. Different times of day, the sun comes up over that way and the sun comes down over that way. And it's just beautiful at night. The sky is orange, and in the morning, it's this pale pink. And right now we're around 11 o'clock. And I just love the bubbles in the water here and the light shining. And I just decided I'm gonna paint that with the reflection there. I started with a little bit of watercolor in my sketch pad just to grab some ideas and some thoughts. I'm not really a watercolor painter, but it's very handy to be able to use the watercolor journal and the small little bit of watercolors in a baggie or in a small bag. You can take it anywhere, grab an idea and bring it home and elaborate on it later. Of course, you should probably use a real easel so you can clamp this journal down and paint properly, but I'm being lazy here. So just a generalized idea of what it's like back here with the reflections in the water. I'm not trying to make it perfect. Just trying to get my idea so that if I want to paint a painting, I've got a concept. Just a little watercolor here. There's some turtles down there. I haven't actually put them in, but I just put a little reminder there of where they are. You can't see this unless I go really close up because it's so bright here. But that's my concept. Every 20 minutes, this backyard looks completely different. I could spend every day out here painting. I'm just fascinated with the colors on the water. As I've said probably in at least 3 or 4 videos so far. So today I've just spent the day painting sketches of the reflections on the water. Reflections and shadows are some of my favorite things to do. Trying to get the little patterns in the water, the way the wind is blowing, the way the little fountain is moving the water in a circular motion. Sometimes a duck swims by and leaves a little current. But right at this moment, this is the way the water is blowing. And these are the reflections. This is oil paint. Earlier it was watercolor. So we're painting colors, we're painting textures, because we're not only trying to get the reflection and the color of the reflections, but we're also trying to get the texture of the water. I considered not putting the tree in because I just like these beautiful colors. But I decided to go ahead and put that in. Kind of helps you understand that we are looking at water. Everything's a risk, and this is just a sketch. But yes, when you put something in, you change the way it looks. And then you have to hope you didn't just destroy the whole thing. You really have to do a lot of sketches, because otherwise you take your painting and you turn it into something so precious that you don't want to make a move because you might destroy it. And if you do these little sketches, some of them may turn out okay, some might not, but you learn a lot, and when you actually paint the painting, you will then feel more confident that the choices you make are probably going to pan out because you've experimented already. So yes, we're not only putting in shadows and reflections, we are also putting in highlights. And those make the whole painting, because they tell us where to look. And usually your lightest lights need to be next to your darkest darks in your focal point. That draws your eye right there, Later I'll put a little bit light on the left side of that tree because I don't want you looking right in the middle of the painting. I'd like you to look a little bit to the left on the 1/3 line, if at all possible. So as usual, we go back and forth because sometimes when we put in our shadows or our highlights, we may rub out an area that we need, so we go back and reinforce it again. Back and forth until we think we've reached the point where we can't make it any better or any worse in some cases, and we call it done. And of course, since you've seen the photo, you know there's a building back there, and there's trees and bushes and porches and reflections from the porches. But the person who just looks at this painting has no idea where all these colors are coming from, and hopefully they are pleasing and they make sense. And that's all you can hope for, because I don't really want all that other information in there. I don't need to show the tree or the buildings in order to show the reflections and the colors from those items. I don't usually do little dabs of paint, but I absolutely had to here because the way the water is, every little dab reflects its own light. I'm not that much of an abstract artist, but I would be very happy just doing the colors in this water on a giant painting in my house. I'm talking like a 6x8 painting or a 5x8 painting. I just think they're beautiful. I love the patterns. Sorry, I'm holding the camera here and trying to paint at the same time. And what I'm doing here is blending in this green because that is the reflection of the grass that is up above. And I don't want it to look like it's actually grass. I want it to look like it's the reflection of grass. So that's why I smoothed it out. There is a streak in the water here that goes over the tree. to let you know that you are looking at water. The water has a surface, and sometimes the bubbles are on top. Sometimes the wind is blowing it, making a little current, which obstructs the reflection. And that's what you're seeing. Once again, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.